Hey, what's up, UFC Undisputed fans? This is Aaron THQ Tank Kaufman. I'm back again with your developer gameplay Q&A number 4, I think it is. And here today once again with senior designer Wes Bunn. And we've got a special guest, UFC Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu trainer Mark Lehman. How you doing, man?
Good, good.
Awesome. So tell us what you're doing here today.
You didn't ask me how I was.
Oh, I'm sorry. How you doing?
I'm not good. I'm good.
Awesome. So Mark, tell us a little about what you're doing here at THQ today.
I just came out to play the game and give my input on it and try to kick Wes's butt, but it's not going too good.
You're lying. You're just trying to make him look good, right?
No, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing.
So, you know, I don't know if all the UFC fans out there know a whole lot about you because, you know, as a prolific Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu trainer, sometimes you guys aren't always in the spotlight or the limelight. You were on Tough Season 2 and 4, but maybe you can just give everybody out there, the newbies, just a quick kind of high level on who you are, what you do.
I was actually 1, 2, and 4.
Excuse me. Sorry. Snap to me, yeah.
Man, I'm just a guy that likes video games and MMA, and pretty much that's all I do with my life. I'm either watching fights or playing video games, and I've been in the sport. I started training in 1996. I started training professional fighters in the UFC in 1997, I believe it was. At UFC 17 was the first time I worked, and I've just been in the sport ever since, and it's been a crazy ride. And it's nice to see video games finally catching up to my favorite sport and making it very realistic and fun to play.
What is your favorite type of video game, if not UFC Undisputed?
Oh, are we talking about right now? Like right now?
I mean, you know, we can start with the past. Tell us one game in the past. Tell us, and then tell us.
Man, Street Fighter 2, was a huge game for me. I mean, I loved that when I was a kid, and that was good. I mean, the remakes of Street Fighter 4 was really good. I love fighting games. I love shooting games, and I just recently got into World of Warcraft. So
your life is over.
My life is over.
Yeah. Sorry, man. Sorry. We'll try and turn your life back to UFC Undisputed eventually when UFC 3 comes out. So tell us a little bit. Maybe Wes, you can highlight. Mark's not just here for playing UFC Undisputed. Obviously, he's here to help us give us some feedback as well. Can you tell everybody out there a little bit about what you guys have been working on?
Yeah, Mark has been instrumental in making the game authentic. He's been here since the beginning, back in 2009. He helped us on 2009, 2010, comes in, plays the game, and because he's a gamer like us, because he knows MMA and wants to make the best game possible like us, he gives us pointers on animation feedback and even general gameplay feedback. Actually here today we brought him in to show him some of his suggestions and changes from his last visit have made their way into the game, so he got to see some of those changes in, and it's making the game look better because of him.
Awesome. And Mark, so you came here a couple months ago. What are some of those changes that you're really glad to see that have improved?
Well, I'm a submission guy, and I got to see a lot of the submissions, and a lot of them look cool, but they're just like a little things that were off that didn't make it look real. And then I gave my input, and they made the changes, and I just can't believe the difference. I mean, I think it was only like 2 or 3 months ago I was here, and the difference to what it looks like today is I mean, it looks awesome. I mean, some of the am I allowed to say what they are?
Yeah, feel free.
Like if you ever saw Rio Chonin versus Anderson Silva, he did a flying heel hook, and it was one of the coolest submissions I've ever seen in my life. And the way they did it in the game originally, it looked off because the heel hook was on the opposite side. They switched it, and when I saw it today, I was kind of blown away. I was like, oh, that looks wrong.
We'll leave that out, don't worry.
But it looked real, I was like, oh man, that's what I remember seeing in Pride. It was really cool to see that. And even some of the subtleties that I didn't see before, like when a guy stands up and he posts his hands, those little things make a big difference to like the authenticity of the game to me, because like that's what you normally see. And like even when you're blocking, like before, it was kind of like this, and now the guys are adjusting to this, and it makes it more realistic. I hate to keep saying it looks realistic, but I mean it looks like you're watching a fight.
Well, you're the expert.
You're blurring the lines between reality. You're blurring the lines between reality and that, and like the guillotine, a couple of the takedowns, they changed some of those things in the omoplata, and it just looks so much better than what it did before. It looked good before, but now it just looks a lot more real, and I mean, you're really blurring the lines of reality now. I mean, it's really looking real.
So you're saying you'd rather watch UFC Undisputed than the UFC pay-per-view, right?
I don't know about that, man. You can't beating Wes is a big goal of mine. I don't know if I can do it, but seeing a live event, that's special, because I mean, people's lives change after events. So I mean, you can't beat that drama. So.
You've had I think you've had a past friendship with Tito Ortiz, or maybe you still do. But what did you think about his win this past weekend?
If I was going to bet, I was going to bet on Bader. I did make an argument to one of my the guys that I work with that Tito could submit him, but I didn't have enough balls to put my money where my mouth is. Of course, everybody hindsight is 2020, but I mean, I thought Tito did good. He hit him with that short little punch, dropped him, jumped on that guillotine, and we had it. It was locked tight, and you know, I was glad to see Tito do it. You know, like, I'm not the biggest Tito fan. You know, I used to train him and whatnot, but I haven't been a big fan of his.
Sure.
But seeing that, it was pretty cool to see. You know, it was nice to see some of the, you know, the old school guys do good against the new school guys, because he wasn't supposed to win that fight. You know, Bader's a, you know, better athlete, better wrestler, but, you know, anything can happen. And that's what I'm saying, the drama of a fight, you cannot beat, like, you can't script something like that. And that's what makes MMA so, I mean, just that whole fight card, from the beginning of the prelims on Spike to the end, I mean, it was just a roller coaster ride, and the energy and excitement, oh man, it was unreal, man. It was
great. I think it was one of the best fight cards in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I was blown away. That's what I was just telling Wes before. So I was like, man, that was one of the best ones that I can remember. I mean, they're all usually pretty good, but I mean, that was, I mean, just Vanderlei and Levin, that was nuts, man.
Boom, it was over.
Yeah, Condit's flying knee was incredible. Like, it was just seeing that stuff. Those guys just came, they put on a great show, they went to finish.
And you got to give props to Cruz and Faber. I mean, they put on a lightning show.
Oh man, I'm telling you, like, those lightweight guys, they get the takedowns, they transition so fast, and it's just so they're conditioning the whole fight. I didn't see the pace really slow down. It was great. I mean, it was a really fun fight to watch for a decision. You know, I hate decisions, but I mean, it was still really fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. So, getting back to UFC Undisputed, you've obviously seen new submission system in the game.
Yes.
Dramatic departure from previous. Now, we haven't exactly gotten into how this whole thing is working, but we have been talking kind of high level about it. We've shown it a little bit at E3. You, once again, being the submission expert, how did Wes do?
You know, the shining mechanic, I wasn't a huge fan of it, because I ended up developing some I couldn't play for a while because I had some blisters.
You put like a permanent tattoo there or something.
Yeah, I mean, it was rough, you know, but when I first started playing again and I saw it made it a lot more interesting and more technical than just, because I kind of feel like this was like button mashing, and I prefer to see technique, and if I'm going to beat somebody, I want to know how I'm beating them, and I want to be able to pull off the moves, and I felt this gave you a little more tactile and technical way to submit the guy, as opposed to just mashing a shining, you know, like I wasn't a big fan.
So you like the strategic nature in the minigame?
Yes, I'm a big fan of strategy, and where it's more technique over power.
Yep. All right. Well, hey, you heard it there. UFC fans from a submission expert validating the new submission system. Doesn't get much better than that, I must say. So good job, Wes.
Good job to the team.
Well, hey, we know what the fans want right now. They want more of Mark, but they also want us to answer some of the gameplay questions that you guys have asked. And this week, we focused on our official UFC Undisputed Facebook page, took your questions there, and I've got them right here, and Wes is ready with the amazingly awesome answers. Is that right, Wes?
Yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah. All right. And, you know, Mark, feel free to chime in anytime if you feel like you have a better answer than Wes, which, you know, you've been working on this game now for 3 years as well, so, you know, you can butt him in the head and it's totally fine. So first question comes to us from Michael Tao. He says, Wes, are there new animations for takedowns for your Create a Fighter? Shooting for doubles all the time got boring. Bring back the Machida leg sweep takedown, but instead of the instant takedown, make it so you have to fight for it. Regular TD, just different animations. Smiley face.
Smiley face.
Yeah.
That is one of the things that we wanted to do. We had that Machida takedown in for 2010 initially. When it first came out, there was a bug that kind of slipped through. There wasn't the struggle state for the takedown, so we found that the instant takedown was a little imbalanced. We liked the takedown, but we wanted all takedowns to have that struggle state. So you have the ability to hold the right stick away to defend and sprawl a takedown every time by blocking it. If you're not quick enough to get to that, every takedown has the struggle state, so you can spin to either fight for or against the takedown. So to answer his question, we did bring back the Machida takedown. We added a lot more outside leg trips, different single leg and double leg takedowns, jumping takedowns like GSP picking up and actually scooping the side control if you win on the struggle state. So there's a bunch of new takedowns that we've added that you can assign to your calves, not only from shooting but also from the clinch, to a lot of trips and throws that we've brought back, and some new ones as well that I think people will like.
It's awesome. Very authentic. I mean,
yeah, I got to see one of the ones that I saw that I didn't like. It was a takedown from behind, which is very common in MMA, and the animation just looked a little off. And then I showed them a few examples of how I thought it should be, and when I saw it today, I mean, it looked flawless. You know, it was really good looking how the takedown transition.
I was actually going to add that was one of the positions that we had in 2010, but it was kind of an obscure position to get to, the standing back clinch. So this year, when you initiate to go to double underhooks, if you do a major transition, you'll kind of shrug them off and slip to the back. So you have more options from there. You can do a standing rear naked choke from there. You can do the takedown like
I didn't see that standing rear naked yet.
It's in there. It's pretty rad. It's pretty rad.
You'll get the controller back and you can see it. Awesome, guys. Well, that's great info. I'm sure that's going to make Michael very happy. Next question comes to us from Salvi Aldunsin. And you know, maybe we can't be too specific here, but in general, can we give a list of how many venues we have this year?
The actual number, we can't actually disclose that just yet. But there are new venues. We're obviously trying to keep up to date with what the UFC is doing. They're going to different venues all the time, and we want to stay up to date and stay current. So there are some new venues this year. There's also some Pride stuff in there too that I won't get into yet. But yeah, well, you guys will enjoy it.
Gotta be, of course. Do you have a favorite venue, Mark?
Man, you know, like playing in the Pride stuff, it's just like I played the original Pride game, and I thought that was a really good MMA game back in the day. Like you could do like combination submissions and stuff, and I used to play that quite a bit with some of my roommates, and that was just kind of like taking me back to that time. And I was like, oh, and then you get to stomp people in the head. That's always pretty sweet. That's always pretty sweet. It's been pretty cool. It's like it's kind of like when they redid the Street Fighter 4. You know, like it was like it's different, but it's a throwback to what it was, and I kind of feel very similar with that, with HD graphics instead of just.
I mean, Pride's like it's a whole other game in the box. Is
yeah,
what it is.
Yeah, because there's a completely different strategy to different things you can do, and it's pretty fun to play.
Awesome, man. Well, the fans are gonna love that. Next question comes to us from Derek Lark. He says, have you done anything new with the rocked animations? I hated how you would fall and just be defenseless in other games. Maybe he's referring to other games, or Undisputed 09 and 10, I don't know, but what do you got to say to that?
So yeah, the rocked animations, we did redo the navigation while you're rocked. We wanted to have more control while you're rocked. You are somewhat defenseless in that state, but we never want to take control away from the player. That's one of our pillars of the game, is constant control. So while you are rocked, if you get knocked down, as the attacker, you have the ability to continue striking as they're falling, which is kind of cool, especially if you get them pinned against the cage and you do some strikes there, rock them. You can follow them all the way down to the ground, which is cool. As the defender, one of the new things that we added, while you go down to the rocked state, this year you have the ability to sway and avoid strikes while you're rocked. So last year in the rock state, you kind of had to just cover up and hope you get out of it. This year you have options. You can sway to avoid strikes and then prevent the TKO from occurring. You can actually counter grapple as well to catch a punch and pull the guy down into clinch.
So while you're rocked, you
have options. So
is that just flicking up on the right
actually,
stick?
it's a click. It's kind of like a submission catch. So
Okay.
you're in the open guard and you guys punching. If you click the right stick on the catch, bring them down. So it allows the player who's in a disadvantaged position to kind of still fight and try to stay alive. Okay. And with the changes we made to the TKO system, it's kind of cool. You get the chance to. It's not over on the first rock state.
Nice.
I think that just further emphasizes how we're just taking 09 and 010 and making 3 even better. You know, continuing to layer on top of that. I think you said in the last video that UFC Undisputed, it's not a 1-year game; it's a 5 to 6 year game.
We've always stated that it's each year we're building upon. We're taking the things that worked and trying to improve them. The things that didn't work, either scrapping them and coming up with something new. We just want to make the best game possible, and with guys like Mark here helping us and the community giving all their great feedback. I know this is the best one so far. It's my favorite one so far.
Hell yeah, it is.
It is.
All right, next question comes to us from Alex C. Riotveld. He says, has the cornerman's speech gotten more accurate and realistic, like when neither of the fighters throw a Superman punch and then my corner tells me that I shouldn't have thrown a Superman punch? It doesn't make any sense. I think in general Alex wants to know about our audio a little bit.
Yeah, we kind of talked about this, I think, in the last video. Our audio team has just gone to great lengths to improve the experience, not from just the commentary standpoint, but just the general ambiance that you hear. Like if you were at a fight, you would hear these guys. You'd hear guys like Mark yelling out to his corner on things to do. That's what you're going to hear this year. not only during the fight but in between rounds too. Those are going to be contextually accurate statements. And with the cornerman advice system that we have in between rounds, they give you positive and negative feedback based on what you're doing. It's just going to be more information for the player and telling them what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong.
So you didn't get positive feedback on how to beat Wes? I'm taking it?
No. It's all been moot point.
Okay.
Can't do it.
We won't dive too far into that. All right. Well, we'll have more on audio in future developer diaries. I mean, the audio in UFC Undisputed 3 is one of the best things about the game, to be quite honest, and we can't wait to share that more with you guys. Next question comes to us. This might be one for Mark, actually. Eric Leona says, I've played Undisputed 09 and 10, hours on end, like Mark. And in 2010, I noticed fighters with crazy submissions like Damian Maia and Frank Mir can pull guard or get one slam and go for a sub and get it first try when no one has thrown a single punch yet, with stamina all the way up, exclamation point. Will it be different in the UFC 3? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Well, that sounds pretty realistic, man. Frank Mir, when he hits the ground, a lot of times he ends up breaking something. Same thing with Damian. So, I mean, that is something that can happen in the game.
Yeah, I think that the changes to the submission system, you're going to get more feedback as to why you won or lost the submission. I think that was one of the biggest issues that we've had with the previous iterations in the submission system. Is you know you were fighting for it, but you didn't know why you lost, really. Was it because of stamina? Was it because I was rocked? Was it because of any number of factors it could have been. So with the HUD display, you're going to see why, what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. There is potential for that still to happen if you're not doing very well at the submission game itself, but at least you'll know why and what you did wrong. So yeah, the submission game itself will change based on the situation, based on your stamina, your stats, whether you're rocked, what position you're in, and we'll touch more on the submission system a little bit more, but there's more of a fighting chance for the defender based on your proficiency at the game.
All right, cool, fair enough. Well, let's move on to the next question here. We got two more left. Aaron Hagerman asks us, has the animation and or graphics been changed to reflect physical damage, i.e. cuts, swelling, bruising? I've heard just a tad bit about the cornerman feature. Could you elaborate a little more on that? That actually sounds like two questions.
Yeah, I tried to throw another question in
He
there.
did, and he got me. He tricked me.
Yeah, we redid some of the cuts. Actually, Mark was talking about one of the cuts we saw on, I think it was Jorgensen today we were playing, and our team has gone to great lengths to improve the visual quality of these and make it look more realistic and more brutal and visceral. So we redid all the cuts, and I think people are going to be pleased with what they see. Regarding the cornerman stuff, that's, again, our audio team is just taking it up a new level. You'll actually hear that reflected through commentary when a guy is cut. Not only that, when a guy is gassed, or a bunch of different other states that you can get into. Goldberg and Rogan will actually reference the fighter by name and say, oh, so-and-so's cut, he better defend himself here. So yeah, you're going to get cues, and you're going to see it a lot better than you did in the previous iterations.
We need the Mark Lehman crowd on-off feature, where you just hear Mark Lehman yelling in the background.
I don't think that'll be a very popular feature. Unless they're turning it off.
Or the Mark Lehman smack talk feature, something like that.
I don't really talk that much smack.
Okay.
Not that exciting.
You're a humble guy.
Just a nerd. Just a nerd.
Well, that's
Well, it's
good.
actually kind of funny though. One of the things in working with Mark and some of the other trainers is everybody has their own kind of vernacular for calling out things. It's kind of a strategy. Maybe you can elaborate on that. You don't actually talk about the type of submission or attack that you want to do. You kind of have nicknames for things.
Yeah, you gotta develop code words so that. I mean,
I thought that was cool.
If you're yelling at the guy to throw a 1-2, I mean, everybody knows what a 1-2 is, or if everybody knows what a guillotine is and the basic submission. So if you say that, you're alerting your fighter, but you're also alerting the other fighter to defend it. So if you can come up with your own, vocabulary, vernacular, and tell people, and so my fighter knows what I'm saying, and I know what I'm saying. It's like playing a video game without a controller. It's almost like a Kinect. But it's pretty cool. Like when you get that level of trust with a fighter and they know what they're doing. Like yesterday, I was actually training a guy, and I was just yelling out like names of guns and things that we've come up for things. And he knows what it means, and he was doing it, and it was just pretty cool to see. Like that's a very good feeling for me as a coach to see that when they're able to do that. So I mean that's a very cool thing.
Awesome. Well, I think on that note, that's actually a perfect note to end on. Mark, are there any final words that you want to say to all your fans out there?
Man, I don't know. Get the game. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I really like the grappling. I've always been like a grappling first guy, and I almost never use the punches. Now with this new system, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, but man, the striking is way different. It's a lot more fun to strike, and it's a lot more responsive and quicker, and it just feels more natural, and it makes you really want to, like, you'll get into the mode of striking, and then I'll go for the takedown. Before I just always, I'll get the takedown, counter the punch, and get him to the ground, because I always felt I had an advantage there. I thought that was a really nice thing. And also on the ground, in 09 and sometimes in 010, I feel like I get stuck if somebody mounted on me. I was just like, God, I can't get this guy out. It seems a lot more forgiving. Like, my moves I don't feel like they're getting stifled as much. It gives a better flow to the fight than what it was before. Sometimes I feel like I get positions and I just couldn't get out of it. I was like, oh man, it got a little frustrating. This one feels like a little more even. Like you're not, if you get mounted, you're not just dead in the water. Yeah, so I really like that too. So.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, we're honored and humbled to have had you as a trainer designer in the last 2-3 years. I know Wes has appreciated it, and I know full well you will get to the level of beating Wes. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time.
Hopefully. I'll take some privates.
Cool. Well, on that note, UFC Undisputed fans, that's it for Developer Q&A number 4. You can learn more about our game at UFCundisputed.com, and of course you can follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/UFC_undisputed, or on Facebook at facebook.com/UFC Undisputed. I'm Aaron THQ Tank Hoffman. This is Mark Lehman, Senior Designer Wes Bunn. We thank you again for your time, and we'll see you next week.